Okay guys, what's going on? It's Danny here, also known as Bricks. Welcome again to another deck profiling video. Today we're going to be going over the Fluffal deck. This is one of the DLC decks that you can get when you go on the PlayStation Store and go to Yu-Gi-Oh! Legacy of the Duelist. This deck is pretty good, but it also does start with this card called Fusion Substitute. Only issue I have, you have to have both monsters on the field in order to use them, but I highly suggest doing this. Voila. With polymerization, you don't have to have both cards on the side of the field. You can actually fusion some of them from in your hand. And let's actually just get to the starting of the deck profiling. We'll start off with these three spell cards, which we have called Battle Fusion, which as long as you have one of these monsters on your side of the field, you should be good. Pretty much when an attack is declared involving a fusion monster you control and an opponent's monster, that monster you control gains attack equal to the attack of the opponent's monster until the end of the damage step. So if you go ahead and you have, let's say, Fright for Bear, which actually has a pretty damn good effect if I do say so myself. What is it? It's pretty good. It gains 1,000 attack whenever you attack an opponent's monster. Instead of destroying the monster and sending it to the graveyard, it becomes an equipped spell card to your monster, and your monster gets an extra 1,000 attack due to the equipped monster. And you can do it up to 5 times as long as you don't have any spell or traps on the field. But let me start off. Besides Battle Fusion, it is a pretty good card if you want to boost up your monster's attack. Besides that, you know, I mean, just keep it in your hand for safety. The next card, we have 2 of the Fusion Weapon. Again, you equip it to a level 6 or lower fusion monster. The equipped monster gains 1,500 attack and defense. Again, that's pretty good, especially if you're just going to boost up your monster's attack and defense, which, like I said, is pretty good. You just saw I replaced Fusion Substitute with Polymerization just so you don't have to wait until you have both monsters on your side of the field, because if you take a look at these monsters, a majority of them are very weak. I think the highest level monster you have in here right now is Fluffal, the Fluffal Dog, the Fluffal Leo, and the Edge Imp Sabers, and the Fluffal Bear. That's about it. So you have about 4 different cards. Yeah, besides that, it's alright. Anyway, let's get on to the next card. We have 3 of the Toy Vendors. Pretty much all you have to do is, it's a continuous spell card. All you have to do is activate it, and you could discard 1 card from your hand. If it's a Fluffal monster, you could special summon it to the field, and I think you can only do this once per turn, but it's pretty good, especially if it's a monster you need and you somehow get it. The next card we have is 3 of the Fusion Reserve. It says reveal 1 fusion monster in your extra deck. Add 1 of the fusion materials listed on that card from your deck to your hand, and you could add 1 polymerization from your graveyard to your hand. I highly suggest saving this until after you've used your fusion monster and you have a polymerization in the graveyard. That way you can actually grab 1 card. Say if you have one of the Edge Imp Sabers and you wanted to make another one of the Fright for Bears, and you already used one of them, you can actually add the Fluffal Bear to from the deck to the graveyard. I mean the deck to your hand, and then use polymerization that you grabbed from the graveyard and use it to fuse with the Edge Imp Sabers, and pretty much just fuse them together. The next card that we have right here is called Try and Guess, which I've never actually used, so this is going to be kind of new. If each player has an extra deck, declare 1 extra deck monster card type, Fusion, Synchro, or XYZ. Both players reveal their extra deck, and the player who has more cards of the declared card type gains 3,000 life points. So if he has Fusion and I have more Fusion and he has none, I gain 3,000 extra life points for it, but if he does, he gets 3,000, so I guess it can go both ways. It's a pretty good card though, in my opinion. I've actually used this deck quite a few times. The next card we're going to go on with is with the monsters. Again, we have 3 of the Edge Imp Sabers. This is going to be the second card that you actually need in order to make the fusion. This goes with pretty much all these. I'm not so sure how many of the monsters you have, so let me go ahead and go to F for Fright Fur. I don't know if it gave me any other cards. Yeah, all it did was give me Fright for Bear and Fright for Wolf, which is the only 2 monsters I'm actually worried about. Fusion Gate would also be a good replacement in here. And you could also take out one of the toy vendors and replace it with a terraforming just to go ahead and get you that fusion gate quicker. Which again, you know, like I said, is pretty good. Up next we have the Fluffal Bears. Again, that's the card used to make the Fright for Bear, along with the Edge Sabers. Once it's sent from your hand to the graveyard, you could set one. Oh, you could it's actually an activated effect too. You can send it from your hand to the graveyard, and you can actually get one toy vendor from your deck to your spell and trap card zone. So you could also tribute this card, and you can get one polymerization that you have in your graveyard and bring it back into your hand. So that's why it's kind of good to have 3. The next card we have is the Fluffal Cat. This card's effect is that if it's sent to the graveyard as a fusion material for a fusion summon, you can target one polymerization in your graveyard, add it to your hand, and clearly you can only use it once, which is good. The next one we have is the Fluffal Dog. When it's normal summon or special summon, you can add one Edge Sabers or one Fluffal monster from your deck to your hand. So say if you have the Fluffal Bear but no Edge Sabers, you summon the Fluffal Dog, you can bring one of the Sabers out from your deck to your hand, and if you have polymerization, you can automatically fuse it together and make either the Fright for Wolf or the Fright for Bear. Next one that we have is another one of our strongest, besides Fluffal Dog, which has 1700. We have Fluffal Leo. His is pretty much, it gains an extra 500 attack only during the battle phase, or when it declares an attack, it gets 500 extra. But it's only until the end of the battle phase, and I have 3 of those. The next one is going to be our way of getting out polymerization if you don't have any in your hand, and that is with the Fluffal Owl, who only has 1000 attack, 1000 defense. And it's a pretty good card again. You can pay 500 life points, fusion summon one Frightfur monster, fusion monster from the extra deck, fusion monsters from your hand or your side of the field as fusion materials. So you could actually pay 500 and pretty much fuse a monster for free. The next one we have is the Fluffal Rabbit. Same effect, I think, as Fluffal Cat, except you can go ahead and, if it's sent to the graveyard as a fusion material for a fusion summon, you can add one Edge Sabers or one Fluffal monster from your graveyard into your hand, except for the Fluffal Rabbit, which is fine. Then we have Mystical Sheep number 1, which you could substitute this card for any one fusion material monster. So say if you don't have Edge Sabers, but you do have Mystical Sheep number 1, you can use that and fuse it with polymerization. And then again, we have the Dark Hex Sealed fusion. We have 3 of those. Again, it's another fusion substitute monster. Pretty good. Now, Fright for Bear and then Fright for Wolf. Fright for Bear pretty much just gains an equip card from the monster that he attacks, and it gets an extra 1000 attack for each monster it destroys. And then Fright for Wolf, you can use the Edge Sabers and any number of Fluffal monsters you have in your hand to fuse it, and then whatever number of Fluffal monsters you use to summon it, you could attack that many times with this monster, which is pretty good. And now the side deck I'm not really worried about, so I wouldn't worry about that right away. But that is the deck profile for the Fluffal deck, which I thought it's a pretty good deck, but it's not, you know, it's not meant for somebody like me. I mean, it's good, but not that good. I do have, I think, 3 other deck profiles coming for you guys soon, so be prepared for that one. I'll try to not stutter or, you know, stammer or anything like that in the next video. I'm just kind of nervous about making videos. I didn't know if I was actually going to get any people to like this video, but hopefully you guys out there that watch Yu-Gi-Oh! And you like playing the games like that will actually watch this. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, I would be really, really appreciated if you leave a comment, rate the video, and then subscribe. I would highly appreciate it. If you have anything you need to say, any kind of suggestions, go ahead, leave a comment below, and I'll answer you the best I can. But until then, see you guys later. Peace!